Hey everyone, Phobos here. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Art Fear Evolved. Today, uh, episode 35, I think. I have one goal in mind, and one only. We are going to get the necessary ingredients to tame a spider. I'm going to do this because I don't believe, nope, not messing with the poop. I don't believe we'll be able to tame them after the fear event ends, but there's no telling. So, without much ado, I'm going to load up on my supplies, and we're going to get going. We have to go get, fur pelts. There's just no way around it. So, we need to get some light in here too. So let's get on the road. What I'm going to do is, let's see here, let me take a quick peek at the map. We need to go east up the coast, and I'll get into the biome, the Arctic biome there on the northeast. Excuse me, the northwest. We need to go west up the coast on the west side to the northwest. I was looking more than thinking. And that's going to be a good distance travel, and plus I'm going to want to kill as much things as possible to get meat, because I want as much rotten meat as I can get, and also just to have meat on hand as well. So, and level up demos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a traveling slash killing montage. Basically, it's going to be really sped up, and I'm just going to get there as quickly as possible, so you can just sit through just a few minutes of me killing stuff and traveling. So, without further ado, let's start the montage. Hey guys, welcome back. I decided to stop the montage for a little while because I was having some fun and trying to find pelts and everything. I've taken a moment to heal, so I thought I'd stop and visit with y'all for a minute. It's really hard to stay warm in this environment, as you can tell. Yeah, I got a fire and a torch, and I'm still cold, but at least I'm healing. Meat's a little scarce, so Demos is kind of get that torch back out. Kind of hurting a little bit, but he's healing at least. So, there are Tyrannosaurus rexes everywhere. There's a freaking Skelosaurus over there, and I got hit by a Carnotaurus earlier. I've been saying Carnosaur earlier in the episodes. I was just wrong. It's Carnotaurus, as you guys know. But anyway, she was getting the better of me, so I was like, okay, let me get out of here and get her aggroed on a stego, which she did. And then I took advantage of that. Haha. So I'm gonna go back to hunting dire wolves here in just a minute. Wait, hold on. I got 7 pelts. Okay, we need 6 for a bug repellent, and I'd like to get a couple more so I can make some gloves, because I learned Ingram for that on the way over. Also, I picked up a blue drop, got a ramshackle ichthyosaurus saddle, and another blueprint for a smithy. Whoopity doo. But the saddle's cool if I get an ichthyosaurus. But I think I'm gonna go ahead, hop off here, grab some meat, and just grab that and put it back on Demos. So you go through meat really fast in this biome. But alright, I'm gonna get back to it. And try to hunt me some more dire wolves without dying, because this is dangerous zone. But alright, see you guys in a minute.